Welcome to the program today. Mondo Gonzales here in studio, and we have through remote Jonathan Cahn all the way from the East Coast, and we're going to be discussing a very important topic today, which is coming up on the 2-year anniversary of October 7th. And as you know, it has been a pretty tumultuous 2 years. And but it's a reminder too, as well, that we are going to be going to Israel. It is safe to go there now, and if you want to join us, we will not be going to Gaza. That's pretty rare, but we will be going to see the other places of Israel again. And one of the important reasons why is simply just to support the state of Israel. We love Israel, no doubt, and there's a lot of connections, certainly. So if you'd like to join us there, you can go to visitisraeltoday.com. Visitisraeltoday.com. We were going in May of 2026. And it's going to be a great time. We see all of the sites that you normally would expect, all the biblical sites, Old Testament, New Testament. But again, also just to show as well our love for the Jewish people. So Jonathan, welcome.
Great to be back. Great to be back with you.
And we're going to be discussing today, which I think is important. We've talked a little bit, again, as I mentioned, the 2-year anniversary. And some people might not be aware of the book that you wrote, The Dragon's Prophecy. So, in that sense, maybe give us a little background of that book. It was about a year ago. But then also maybe in your mind, thinking back for the last year on all the events that have happened and thinking forward here of the 2-year anniversary. Kind of give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I was led to write The Dragon's Prophecy, and it is of all the books I've written, it more gets into the end times specifically, Israel and the end times. The subtitle is Israel, the Dark Resurrection and the End of Days. Because what happened 2 years ago and what's continued, what has come from it, which is really changing the Middle East and the world, is all biblical. It aligns with end time prophecy. Whether it's the world's rage at Israel, which the Bible speaks about, the enemies of Israel attacking Iran was all part of this. There are links to Ezekiel 38 and 39, and so there's all sorts of stuff converging together. So I think it's really crucial. And also, I don't know if we're gonna. I know we're gonna mention it. But at the same moment, now The Dragon's Prophecy, another relevancy, is becoming a motion picture. It's going to be released, and it's really powerful. So I believe everything's just converging together at this very prophetic time.
And for those, I'd like to get into a little bit more in the sense of helping people understand the connection, because the connection that you made, again, visually, and of course, we have. Not only have you the book, but you got your own DVDs on the topic, and so people can see this as well. The uncensored version. Maybe tell us about that right up front here.
So The Dragon's Prophecy is the book that's now becoming a movie, but then I put out, and I only do this. This is not available on Amazon. You cannot go to bookstores. This is exclusive, and Prophecy Watchers has it. It's one of the few who has it. It is The Dragon's Prophecy Uncensored. This is it not only has the mysteries of the Dragon's Prophecy, it has the uncensored things I did not even put in the book. And it goes more into the end time, all the issues of the end times and the questions people ask, and people ask me, that I put into this. This is the 8 1-hour DVD uncensored album where you're going to see the events. You're not just going to read about it. You're going to see it happen. You're going to see prophetic things. And there are all sorts of other mysteries I have never put anywhere else. So especially about the end times, more than any other thing I've ever made. So I think it's a very powerful thing. You can show it to friends. You can show it to your church. You can just enjoy it. Anybody who's an unbeliever, they'll sit and they'll watch. So it's a very powerful thing. So that's The Dragon's Prophecy Uncensored 8 DVD album.
Let's get into this for those that maybe haven't read the book or haven't seen any of the DVDs, and of course this new film coming out. But the kind of give us the background, in the sense of The Dragon's Prophecy. What is it? Revelation 12. Kind of give us an intro on that.
Yeah, I was speaking about a mystery from the Bible at Beth Israel here in New Jersey, the congregation I lead. And it was a Friday night, and I'm sharing about a specific mystery that when you take that mystery and you apply it, that mystery was foreshadowing that there would be an attack on Israel. It would happen in the year 2023. It would happen in the month of October. It would happen on the first Saturday of October, on a Hebrew holy day. And I'm sharing that mystery that Friday night. The next morning, the attack happens. It comes true. And that is really the beginning of the dragon's prophecy. And what the title refers to the vision in Revelation, where you see a woman first, and she's got 12 stars, a crown of 12 stars on her head, and she gives birth to the Messiah. And there's only one who could do that. That's Israel, who gives birth to the Messiah, 12 stars, the 12 tribes, and is around in the last days on earth. That's only Israel. But then you have a dragon. It says, I saw a red dragon, and the dragon wages war against the woman. The dragon is trying to destroy the woman. Well, the dragon is Satan. And so what it's saying is you're going to have a war on earth between Satan against the nation of Israel or the Jewish people. And the amazing, think about this, because the enemy, Satan, is, he exists to destroy the purposes of God. He exists to prevent them. Well, you got that, and then you have a people who exist to fulfill the purposes of God, the Jewish people, Israel. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen is you're going to have a cosmic war. And so that's exactly what has happened. When you look at the history of the world, the history of the Jewish people for the last 4,000 years, that's exactly it. You'd expect the Jewish people to become the most hated people, the most warred against people, the most vilified people, most slandered people, the most accused people, the most ravaged people, the most attacked people. That's exactly what they become. And it doesn't matter when you talk ancient times, medieval times, modern times, it doesn't matter, because the enemy does not die. And so it revives every generation. The names change, the reasons change. Hitler said it was for one reason. Hamas says it's for another reason. The woke says it's for another reason. The ancient world doesn't matter, because it's not about that. It's telling you there's another reason. There's a war. It is spiritual. It is cosmic, and it's happening. And October 7th, and what's happening right now is all part of that war.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you look at just the world that we're in now, especially post October 7th. It's maybe discuss that, where here you have this brutal attack that happened. Just horrible. And then Israel simply responds in order to prevent this from happening again, because now it became so obvious that if they had the opportunity, they would take it, and they did, Hamas. But now that Israel gets vilified in just simply defending themselves, but is that surprising?
No, Israel is always vilified. In peacetime, it's vilified. In wartime, it's vilified. It's always vilified. As long as there's an enemy, it's going to be vilified. This is just an excuse. It gives them a reason to. One is they have to fight for their lives. They have to fight to exist. And at the same moment, as they fight, if they don't fight, they're destroyed. If they fight, the world hates them. But the world hates them anyway. So no, it's just an eruption of the dragon's hate. Nobody likes war. Nobody likes that. And Israel doesn't like war. Israel has always sought, to have peace with its neighbors, but its very existence is at stake always. So when it tries to then destroy Hamas, Hamas, sets itself up in civilian populations, in schools. It uses people as human shields. That's what they do. They don't care, because the name that's linked to the mystery of Hamas, which is in the Bible actually, and it's in the dragon's prophecy. But so it's fighting for its life, but therefore the enemy will use that to further hate Israel. So we just had a thing where Netanyahu was at the UN, and it looked like almost the entire UN walked out on him. When do they walk out on so much walk out on one nation? They didn't walk out on China, that kills millions of its own people. Didn't walk out on the Soviet Union when that was there. Didn't walk out on North Korea, that massacres. Didn't kill. But little Israel is the only nation that has the honor of such hatred.
Yeah, it's actually phenomenal. And this is where if people just analyzed the behavior of the United Nations against little Israel and the way disproportionate amount of condemnations of Israel versus even other Sudan and Somalia, you name it, it would be pretty obvious that that Satan is real, that he hates the Jewish people, that you'd have to be just sit there and go, why is the world against Israel? And it leads to a good question, but we're going to take a little break here, because you mentioned the mystery of Hamas, which I want to unpack here in a minute, but we're going to take a little break. where you can see how to get our magazine, which again covers so much of these topics as well on a monthly basis. So take a listen.
The world is unraveling right in front of us. Wars, pandemics, economic collapse, artificial intelligence, global surveillance. Things are changing quickly, but you don't have to be caught off guard. At Prophecy Watchers, we believe that God has called us to be a voice in these last days, to warn you of things to come, to educate you on the study of Bible prophecy, and to boldly proclaim the soon return of Jesus. Today, we're inviting you to be a part of our mission through our monthly publication. The Prophecy Watcher isn't just a magazine, it's your trusted news source for the end times, the place tens of thousands of people rely on for their end time news. For your gift of just $50 or more, here's what we'd love to send you. 12 monthly issues of our 4-color magazine, The Prophecy Watcher, in your choice of print or digital. Plus 5 bonus DVDs packed with eye-opening teachings from prophecy experts, including The Mystery of the Rapture, The Great Apostasy and the Revealing of the Antichrist, Holy Fire in Jerusalem, new shocking discoveries surrounding the Shroud of Turin, The Stones Cry Out, The Archaeological Evidence for Jesus, The Mystery of the 10 Kings. Could these be the wealthy and influential oligarchs who control our world today? As an added bonus, we want to send you a one-of-a-kind prophetic treasure, a book that examines every prophecy in the entire Bible. Exploring Bible prophecy from Genesis to Revelation is the work of 2 prophecy legends, Tim LaHaye and Ed Hindson. It's a book you'll find on the shelf of every prophecy expert. This 560-page masterpiece is our bonus gift to you. Every page of the Prophecy Watcher magazine is loaded with answers to the questions you've been asking. The rise of the Antichrist system, the Nephilim of Genesis 6, and the real reason for Noah's flood. The shocking truth about UFOs and government cover-ups. Jewish plans for the Third Temple. The World Economic Forum. The 2030 Global Reset and digital currency. The coming wars of Ezekiel 38 and 39, the Dead Sea Scrolls and their secrets to ancient prophecies. This $120 value can be yours for your gift of $50 with shipping included in the USA. Call us at the number on your screen or visit us online at prophecywatchers.tv. For our international friends, please note that additional shipping fees do apply and all prices listed are in US dollars. The signs are everywhere. The prophetic puzzle is almost complete, and yet so many are still asleep. That's why the Prophecy Watchers exists, to shine a light in the darkness and help believers understand the lateness of the hour. We believe Jesus is coming soon, and your support helps us take this urgent message to the ends of the earth.
Well, welcome back, and we are talking to Jonathan Cahn. And right before the break, Jonathan, you mentioned the mystery of Hamas, which, and of course, if you take Hebrew, one of the Hebrew vocabulary words I learned in seminary was Hamas means violence, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of strange. Talk about that and what you wrote as it relates to the mystery of Hamas.
Yeah. Well, Hamas is an Arabic word that in Arabic, it means the Islamic resistance movement. But it's also strange because while being an Arabic word, it's an ancient Hebrew word. And the word Hamas literally means evil, death or violence and destruction. And it actually, so here you've got an organization called Evil, Violence, and Destruction. And that's exactly what it is. And it actually appears in the Bible. In the Bible, you have the word Hamas is that you wouldn't see it in English because it's there in Hebrew. For instance, it says, Lord, save me from the men of Hamas. That's in the Bible. It says, you know how Hamas dwells in the tunnels? It says Hamas dwells in the dark places of the earth. It says that the city is filled with Hamas and the land is filled with crimes of bloodshed, October 7th. It says in Ezekiel, rid Hamas from the land. And then it says in the promise of Messiah's kingdom when he reigns on earth in Isaiah, it says, in that day, no more shall Hamas ever be heard in your land again. So it's all there.
Wow. I mean, this is It's the circle and it's the cycle, it's the pattern that you discuss often. And one of them you bring up in the book, which I think is fascinating, is the idea of the dark resurrection. Talk about that.
As right as God starts resurrecting Israel, the enemy starts resurrecting another nation. And an enemy, who's going to be? It's going to be an enemy nation. And so what was the ultimate enemy nation against Israel? It was the Philistines. Again and again and again for ages. I mean, today there is a people whose name they're called the Palestinians. But the word Palestinian in Arabic isn't Palestinian. The word is, listen, Philistini. It literally means the Philistines. So you got a people who are literally called the Philistines. And they started resurrecting just as Israel did.
Yeah, I hope people just see the ramifications of what is in the Bible. And again, these patterns repeated, as well as you mentioned, this really gets into seeing the end of the age. I mean, we talk about prophecy. I know there's a lot of different viewpoints, but the fact of the matter is, are we at the end of the age? Well, Israel's back in the land in 1948. I mean, it's been, 77 years. And God is saying, listen, it's time to wrap it up, so to speak. It's time to wrap up history, and then to bring certainly the Messiah Jesus back to rule and reign. I mean, how has that kind of played as well into your thinking? Because no doubt you're in the book of Revelation and other things. Is that part of the pattern?
Well, it is. The Bible gives very clear checkpoints about what when you'll know you're in the end of the age. The word in Hebrew is the Yamim Aharim, or the Yamim, which is the days of the end. And the one who first speaks about it is Moses. So it goes that far back. So how do you know you're going to be in the end times? Well, you'll know you're in the end times when a nation that had been gone from the earth for 2,000 years has come back into the world, Israel. When he gathers them from the ends of the earth, you're in the end times. When you see the Jewish people returning to Jerusalem, you'll know you're in the end times, 1967. When you see all nations focusing on Israel and Jerusalem, you're in the end times. When you see all the world obsessed with it, all the world hating Israel, you're in the end times. On top of the fact, when you see apostasy throughout the world, well, you're seeing everything happen at the same time. And October 7th was all part of that, because it was almost like a foreshadow of what's going to happen at the very end, where this hatred for Israel, all nations hating Israel and seeking in one form or another coming against Israel in the aftermath of this. But the enemy was in this in every way. It was a cosmic thing, because one of the mysteries is that God instituted what was called the Jubilee, the Yovel. And the Jubilee, you return home to the land that you lost. Well, no people have ever lost the land as much as Israel has, And yet when God brought them back, he did it according to the mystery of the Jubilee. 1867 is the year that really begins it, when the Sultan of Turkey opens up the land to be purchased, where Jewish people can start purchasing the land back. And they start returning little by little. They start returning around that time in the late 19th century. But count 50 years from 1867, it takes you to the next Jubilee, is 1917. And that same year, the British Empire issues the Balfour Declaration, saying the land of Israel will go back to the original owner, Jubilee. So they promise the land, okay, but they don't have Jerusalem, and they have to have Jerusalem for Jesus to come. Well, count 50 years to the next Jubilee from 1917, and that takes you to the year 1967. Anything happen? 1967, Six-Day War breaks out. For the first time in 2,000 years, Israeli soldiers enter the gates of Jerusalem. God restores Jerusalem to the Jewish people. Everyone shall return to their ancestral possession. The Jewish people return to Jerusalem. But the one thing you get in the year of Jubilee, you don't just go back to your land, you get the legal right and recognition. Well, the one thing Israel never got, the world refused to recognize Jerusalem as the only capital in the world that the world refuses to recognize. Well, count 50 years to the next Jubilee. What year does it land on? 2017. Anything happen? That year, Donald Trump is elected, and he issues the Jerusalem Declaration, which gives the legal right of Jerusalem to the nation of Israel, and first nation to recognize it, first ruler since ancient times. And so think about it. In the first, when you go back in the Jubilee of 67, the key guy was named Rabbi Horn. In 2017, the key person was President Trump. Horn, Trump, Jubilee. God is perfect. But now, the enemy is an imitator. So he's going to imitate the Jubilee and turn it against God and against Israel. There was another event that was not a good event. It was a tragedy. It was calamity for Israel. It was called the Yom Kippur War. And in that war, Israel was attacked by surprise. They didn't see it coming. And they believed it was so bad that the leaders of Israel were preparing for the end of Israel. They believed it was going to be the end of Israel. By a miracle, God turned it around and they won, but it shook them to that day. It shook them up until now. Well, the enemy's going to take that calamity, the calamitous war, and he's going to turn it into a jubilee. So what happens if you count 50 years from that invasion? It takes you to the year 2023, the year of the invasion of October 7th. When did the Yom Kippur War happen? In the month of October. So when is the next invasion? It's going to happen in October. When did that Yom Kippur specifically happen on a Sabbath? So October 7th happened on a Sabbath. The 73 invasion, Yom Kippur War, happened on a Hebrew holy day. Actually, we're recording this on the same Hebrew holy day. So the October 7th happened on a Hebrew holy day. So altogether, the invasion of the Yom Kippur War happened on the first Saturday of October of 1973. So fast forward to the first Saturday of October of 2023, 50-year anniversary jubilee. It's October 7th. What the world witnessed was the devil's jubilee.
Yeah, and I hope people really see the ways in which these patterns are evident, and it's beyond coincidence. It shows again God's providence over His people, and also what He's going to do as we look forward to again the wrapping up of the end of the age, and to see as Romans 11:26, all Israel will be saved. That's what we're looking for. But we're going to take a little break here where you can see how to get the Dragon Prophecy as well as the new movie that's coming out, which is phenomenal. So take a listen.
October 7th is a day that will live in infamy. It was early morning when the news broke at our prophecy conference in Norman, Oklahoma. Tragedy had struck in Israel as drug-fueled Hamas terrorists stormed across the Israeli border, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent men, women, and children in brutal, inhumane ways, and taking hostages that 2 years later may never return alive. Best-selling author Jonathan Cahn was quickly catapulted onto the worldwide stage, releasing an amazing book that was inspired by the October 7th attack. The Dragon's Prophecy took us back to biblical times, the time when Israel's ancient enemy, the Philistines, roamed the land. The place where Samson was blinded and died in a Philistine temple. Jonathan's book exposes the dark shadows of history, exploring the cursed history of the land and people of Gaza. Inspired by Jonathan's work, Dinesh D'Souza began planning a documentary on October 7th, a 90-minute film that will leave you in stunned silence as you witness video footage you've never seen before. Taking the viewers to Ground Zero, the Gaza crossing, Dinesh shares the terror of the initial attack. He interviews the emotional victims, people who shared their miraculous survival accounts as their friends and family were killed. D'Souza offers the Palestinian perspective on October 7th, sharing interviews with indoctrinated schoolchildren, terrorists, and the spouses of the hostages who were never returned home. The documentary is gripping as you'll see what really happened that day. Interviews with Prime Minister Netanyahu, Mike Huckabee, and other Israeli experts take us back in Israel's history to prove who owns the land. It's the definitive answer to the ongoing debate, claiming that the Jews in Israel today are not the people God brought back to the land in 1948. The Dragon's Prophecy documentary is available today for your gift of $30 or more, with shipping included anywhere in the USA. It also comes with a free bonus, a live conference presentation from Jonathan Cahn on the tragedy of October 7th. Call our toll-free number 24/7 or visit us online at prophecywatchers.tv. For our international friends, please note that additional shipping fees do apply and all prices listed are in US dollars. Jonathan's original book and DVD set, The Dragon's Prophecy, is the source for the D'Souza documentary. We've packaged up all of Jonathan's research in our October 7th prophecy package. The package includes Jonathan's Dragon's Prophecy book, the 8 DVD companion set, offered exclusively through Prophecy Watchers, Dinesh D'Souza's Dragon's Prophecy documentary, and Jonathan's live conference DVD on the October 7th tragedy. This is a presentation you won't want to miss, delivered with passion and human emotion. The entire package can be yours for your gift of $85 or more, a savings of over $50. There are no bigger fans of Israel than Prophecy Watchers. In spite of this tragedy, we know God has a plan for the Jewish people. Join us in praying for the peace of Jerusalem, and may God open their eyes and help them recognize their long-awaited Jewish Messiah, Jesus of Nazareth.
Well, welcome back, Jonathan. We have a few minutes left, and one of the fascinating things is, as you've been actually very busy, of course, a lot of writing, and the Lord's been revealing a lot to you. And as we wrap up here, Jonathan, we've talked about a variety of things today, and all these things that God is in control. He's monitoring, He's guiding it, and let's say someone's watching and they're touched by the Holy Spirit. What's the goal for them? Kind of guide them into understanding and getting their relationship with God right.
Yeah, the ultimate thing is, listen, when you look at the future, these is about what's happening now and what's going to happen in the future. Both books speak about that. The Dragon's Prophecy and the Avatar. That you don't have to be afraid of the future. The main thing is you got to be right with God. If you're right with God, you have nothing to fear. But you got to be right with God. If you're not right with God, yeah, you can have but you got to be right with God. And so Jesus said you must be born again. If you're not sure you're saved, it's as simple as it can begin with a prayer. But giving your life to Him, following Him, saying, "Come into my life. I want to do it right now. I want to live the life you called me to live." God will do it. So main thing is, we are on the winning side. If you're with God, that's the whole thing. We win. So it's a great thing. There's nothing like it. Get right with God. If you're not born again, you can do it in your own home, but get right with God and you will be blessed and you have nothing to fear.
Amen. Well, thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, everyone, for watching today. As always, we appreciate your prayers and support for what we do here. Again, the goal is exactly what Jonathan just said, is to get the gospel out, to help people get right with God in these very amazing times. God is working. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
We hope today's program has strengthened your faith and given you a deeper understanding of God's prophetic word. As you may know, Prophecy Watchers is a viewer-supported ministry made possible through the faithful support of friends like you. If you've been blessed by our ministry and feel led to stand with us, we would truly be grateful for your financial support. You can give easily by visiting prophecywatchers.com.